Arizona Defense Testing Range. Midday sun beats down on concrete and steel. 13 professional snipers, all men, stand in A-line. One by one, they take position behind high-powered rifles. 13 shots echo across the desert. 13 misses. General Marcus Harris removes Hissenglass's jaw tight. Any snipers left? Silence. Then a voice, female, calm, steady, cuts through the heat. May I try, sir? Every head turns. A woman steps forward from the logistics tent. Simple uniform, no badges, no reputation, just quiet confidence. If you've ever been underestimated just because you didn't look like them, keep watching. Real power doesn't need to shout. Hit like and subscribe if you believe talent knows no gender. Show 5:30. Dawn breaks over the Arizona base. Captain Norah Hayes wakes without an alarm. 32 years old, average height, brown hair pulled back in a regulation bun. Nothing about her stands out. That's exactly how she likes it. She brews black coffee in a scratched metal pot. No sugar, no cream, just heat and caffeine. While it percolates, she does 50 push-ups on the cold barracks floor, then sit-ups, then stretches that pull at old scars nobody asks about. From under her bunk, she retrieves a worn rifle case. Inside an M210 sniper rifle, decommissioned 3 years ago. The weapon isn't registered to her anymore, doesn't matter. Every morning, she field strips it, cleans every component, reassembles it in 4 minutes flat. Muscle memory doesn't forget. She drinks her coffee, standing at the window, watching the sun paint the mountains gold. Therafel sits on her bed, gleaming. By Aero 6 Woo, she's dressed and walking across the training grounds toward the logistics office where she spends her days managing supply chains and ammunition inventories. Not glamorous, not combat, just necessary. A group of soldiers jogs past young men with fresh buzz cuts and loud laughs. One whistles, "Hey, coffee lady, got any donuts today?" Another joins in, "Logistics queen." Norah doesn't react, just keeps walking, boots crunching on gravel. But her eyes, anyone watching closely would see them track movement like a predator tracking prey. She notices the slight limp in the third soldier's left leg. The way the fourth favors his right shoulder, wind speed from the flag's angle, distance to the firing range from the echo of practice shots. She notices everything. At the ammunition depot, a new recruit drops a crate. Bullets scatter across the concrete, mixed calibers. Different weights, chaos. "Shit," the kid mutters, kneeling down. Norah crouches beside him. Without speaking, she sorts their rounds by caliber, weight, and manufacturer in under 30 seconds. Each one placed precisely where it belongs. The recruit stares. "How did you physics?" Norah says simply. She stands, dust off her hands, walks away. Staff Sergeant Chen, watching from the doorway, narrows his eyes. That wasn't random. That was training. Deep training. He makes a mental note, but says nothing. Later that morning, Norah sits in a briefing room with 15 other officers. Major Reeves stands at the front, clicking through slides. The 4,000-meter challenge, he announces. Experimental long-range protocol. We're selecting candidates for advanced training. Names appear on screen. Elite snipers, competition shooters, combat veterans with confirmed kills at extreme distances. Norah's name doesn't appear. "Captain Hayes," Reeves says without looking at her. "This is combat personnel only. No logistics officers." She nods once, doesn't argue, doesn't protest, but her hands resting on the table curl slightly, just for a second. After the meeting, she walks back to her barracks alone. The sun is high now, brutal and bright. She passes the firing range where selected candidates are already practicing. She doesn't stop to watch. Back in her room, she opens her personal locker. Inside, beneath folded clothes and regulation gear, is a small wooden box. She opens it carefully. Inside, a faded photograph of 5 soldiers in desert camouflage. Younger Norah smiling, a rare sight, surrounded by her team. Below the photo, a silver bullet casing engraved with coordinates and a date, Afghanistan 2016. She closes the box, gently slides it back into darkness. Some ghosts are better left sleeping. Days later, the entire base gathers at the long-range testing facility. General Marcus Harris stands before a crowd of soldiers, his uniform crisp despite the heat. Behind him, a massive screen displays a target $4,000 away, nearly 2 miles. This isn't about ego. Harris begins voice carrying across the assembled troops. This is about pushing human capability. The Ghost training program needs operators who can make impossible shots in impossible conditions. Fly gestures to the range, $1,000 wind, heat distortion, bullet drop of over 800 FT, one shot. Whoever makes it earns their place. 13 elite snipers step forward. Men with decorated records, tournament champions, operators with triple-digit confirmed kills. The crowd watches in respectful silence as the first shooter takes position. He's methodical, checks wind speed with a handheld device, calculates humidity, adjusts his scope with micro-precision. He breathes, settles, fires. The shot cracks across the desert. 4 seconds of silence. Then the spotter's voice, "Miss, left 2M." The shooter stands frustrated but controlled. The second sniper takes his place. He's faster, more confident. Former Marine Scout sniper with a reputation for cold bore shots. He fires. Miss right 3M, third shooter, fourth, fifth. Each one brings different techniques, different equipment, different philosophies. Each one misses. The crowd's enthusiasm fades into tense silence. Sixth shooter, seventh, eighth. By the 10th, Miss people start whispering. The conditions must be impossible. Maybe the target's malfunctioning. Maybe this whole thing is a setup. General Harris watches without expression, arms crossed. 11th miss, 12th, 13th. Captain Rodriguez, the last shooter, lowers his rifle with visible frustration. He's made shots at 3,200 men or before. This should be possible, but it isn't. Harris scans the assembled soldiers. Anyone else? Nobody moves. The best snipers on base just failed. Who else would dare try? Silence stretches. Then from the back of the crowd, a voice. May I try, sir? Heads turn. Confusion ripples through the formation. Norah Hayes steps forward, weaving through the crowd. She's not in tactical gear, just her standard utility uniform. No spotter, no specialized equipment. Lieutenant Morgan laughs. Actually laughs out loud. You serious right now? Captain Rodriguez smirks. She doesn't even have a combat qualification. Maybe she'll hit the sky. Someone mutters. Laughter spreads. Norah keeps walking, eyes straight ahead. General Harris studies her. Something flickers in his memory, something he can't quite place. Her face is familiar, but from where? Captain Hayes, he says slowly. You understand this is $4,000 MR in variable wind with thermal distortion affecting ballistics above $500 Norah says calmly, Yes, sir, I understand. The crowd goes quiet. Harris holds her gaze for a long moment, then nods. One shot, Captain. Make it count. Norah approaches the firing line. The rifle waiting there is a Chaytak intervention, cutting edge and familiar. Not her old M2010. She picks it up, feels its weight, checks the action. The trigger pull the scope's clarity around her soldiers. Whisper and smirk. This should be entertaining. A logistics officer trying to outshoot elite snipers, but Norah doesn't har them. She pulls a small leather notebook from her cargo pocket, opens it to a page filled with handwritten calculations, wind drift formulas, atmospheric pressure tables, Coriolis effect adjustments. She glances at the wind flags, then at the heat shimmer dancing above the range. Her eyes track invisible patterns in the air. She retrieves a single bullet from her pocket, holds it up to the light, examines it. This one custom weighted perfectly balanced. She loads it with practiced precision. The crowd leans in despite themselves. Norah settles behind the rifle, adjusts the stock, checks the scope. The sun beats down. Sweat forms on brows around her, but Norah's breathing is steady, slow. Her heart rate drops 59 beats per minute. The wind shifts slightly. Without using instruments, she adjusts her scope. 6.3 mil radians, right? Her finger finds the trigger. The world holds its breath. Silence. Not the silence of absence, but the silence of anticipation. Heavy electric alive with waiting. Norah's world narrows to a single point 4,000 mawe. Everything else dissolves. The crowd, the whispers, the doubt. Only the target exists. Her breathing slows further. In, hold, out, hold. She learned this rhythm in mountains where the air was thin and every breath mattered. Where one shot meant the difference between mission success and body bags. Through her scope, heat waves dance like ghosts. The target wavers distorted by temperature gradients and atmospheric interference. It's not where it appears to be. Physics lies at this distance. But Norah knows how to read the lies. Wind speed 12 mph gusting to 15. Direction northeast shifting. That means deflection right, but the gust will create vertical drift. Compensate left by 1.8 meters, down by 0.4. Temperature 96 degrees F. Air pressure 30, 12 in of mercury, humidity 18%. She doesn't need instruments. Her body reads the environment the way others read books. Bullet drop at 4,000 mene, approximately Y99 after 38 seconds of flight time. No, she corrects herself. 3.8 seconds of this velocity. Her mind runs calculations faster than most people can type them. Coriolis effect. The Earth's rotation will push the bullet right at this latitude. That's roughly 6 meters of just left. Spin drift. The bullet's rifling will cause rightward drift. Another 0.3 misadjust again. All of this happens in her mind in less than 10 seconds. Her finger rests on the trigger. Not pulling yet, just feeling. The rifle becomes an extension of her body, her intent, her will. She exhales halfway, holds. Her heart beats once, twice. On the third beat between breaths, in the space where body and weapon align perfectly, she fires. The shot cracks like thunder. The rifle kicks against her shoulder, a familiar violence, almost comforting. The bullet leaves the barrel at 3,000 feet per second, spinning at 200,000 rotations per minute. A tiny missile carrying her intent across 2 and 1 to 2 miles of air. The crowd watches frozen. The bullet climbs, then begins its long arc downward. Wind catches it, pushes it right, but Norah's adjustments hold. Gravity pulls, but her calculations predicted this. Time stretches. 3.8 seconds feels like an eternity. Then ting, the sound is distant, but unmistakable. Metal on metal. Through the spotting scope, the observer whispers, impact. Then louder, impact. Dead center. The crowd erupts, but Norah doesn't react. She engages the safety sets. The rifle down carefully removes her hearing protection. Her hands are steady. Her expression is calm. General Harris steps forward, staring at the screen, displaying the target. The bullet hole is perfectly centered. Maybe the cleanest shot he's ever witnessed at this range. How? He says quietly, though his voice carries. Did you make that correction? Norah meets his eyes. Physics, sir. Wind right to left 14.3 mph average with gusts. Temperature at 96 degrees creates mirage effect at 600 meters, compensated left 1.8 miles down point. 4. Standard ballistics standard. Lieutenant Morgan's face is pale. There's nothing standard about that shot. Norah's expression doesn't change. It's just math and practice. Where did you get that practice? Harris asks. Norah hesitates just for a moment, then she says, Afghanistan, sir. 2016 Operation Silent Guardian. Harris goes, still. I was your overwatch, Norah adds quietly. The general's eyes widen. Memory floods back. Kandahar province. His team pinned down in a compound, taking fire from 3 positions. They were gonna die there. Then, from some impossible distance, enemy shooters started dropping. 1, 2, 3, perfect headshot from a sniper they never saw. Command told him later it was a ghost unit operator. Call sign Viper 1, they never told him it was a woman. You Harris breathes. You saved my entire team. Norah nods once. The crowd has gone silent again, but this time it's different. This isn't skepticism, it's awe. Harris does something he rarely does. He smiles genuine, warm, respectful. He straightens, snaps a salute. Welcome back, Viper 1. Norah returns the salute crisp and precise around them. Slowly, the other soldiers begin to applaud. First one, then another, then the entire formation. Not mocking, not surprised, respectful. The sound echoes across the desert like thunder. If you believe real talent doesn't need to be loud, share this video. Honor those who change the game in silence. 3 days later, the base feels different. Norah still works in logistics, still manages ammunition supplies and equipment manifests. But when she walks across the compound, now soldiers nod. Some salute even though she's not their direct commander. The mockery has transformed into respect. Lieutenant Morgan approaches her at Thedapot, hands behind his back, looking uncomfortable. "Captain Hayes," he says, "I owe you an apology." Norah glances up from her inventory tablet. "For what? For doubting you?" "For laughing." She considers this, then nods. "Accepted. You didn't know." Still, it was unprofessional. He shifts his weight. Could I ask you something? Go ahead. How did you learn to shoot like that?" "I've been training for 10 years and I've never seen anyone make corrections like you did." Norah sets down her tablet. "You've been training for 10 years. I've been calculating for 15. Try you act calculating every shot is just a math problem." She explains wind speed, bullet drop, air density, temperature, rotation of the earth. If you can solve the equation, you can make the shot. But the instinct is an instinct. It's repetition. 10,000 hours of reading wind, another 10,000 understanding bullet behavior. Practice until the calculations become automatic. Morgan nods slowly, absorbing this. There's no secret. Norah continues. Just work. Most people want the result without the process. She picks up her tablet again, returns to her inventory. Morgan lingers a moment longer, then walks away thinking. That afternoon, General Harris summons her to his office. The room is Spartanly decorated. American flag in the corner, photos of past operations on the walls, a desk covered in reports and satellite imagery. Harris stands when she enters. "At ease, Captain." He gestures to a chair. "Sit." Norah sits back, straight hands folded in her lap. Harris opens a drawer, removes a small wooden box. He places it on the desk between them. "I did some checking," he says. "Ghost Unit 2014 to 2017. 47 confirmed kills at ranges exceeding $1,500 are. 17 missions with 0 casualties. You were the unit's primary sniper." Norah doesn't respond. Then the unit was disbanded after the Kabul incident. Most operators were reassigned to other special operations teams, but you have pauses. You requested transfer to logistics. Why? Norah looks at her hands. "I was tired, sir." "Of what?" "Of shooting people." The honesty hangs in the air. Harris nods slowly. "I understand, but that shot 3 days ago, that wasn't rust. That was precision. Muscle memory doesn't forget," Norah says quietly. "No," Harris agrees. "It doesn't." He opens the wooden box. Inside is amidal, simple, unadorned. No ceremony attached. This isn't official. He says there won't be a press conference or a parade. Ghost operators don't get those, but I wanted you to have it anyway. Happens the medal to her uniform himself, for service above and beyond, for saving lives in silence. Norah touches the metal, feeling its weight. "Thank you, sir." Harris sits back down. "There's something else." He slides a folder across the desk. "We're rebuilding the Ghost Unit. New parameters, new mission profiles, new operators. We need someone to train them. Someone who understands that precision isn't about firepower. It's about discipline." Norah opens the folder. Inside are dossier on potential recruits. Young faces, eager eyes. "You want me to teach?" she asks. "I want you to lead, train them, shape them, make them understand what you understand." She studies the faces in the photos. So young, so confident, so unaware of what real combat costs. "When do I start?" Harris smiles. "Tomorrow." Norah closes the folder. Stan salutes. As she reaches the door, Harris calls out, "Captain Hayes." She turns. "For what it's worth," he says. "I'm sorry it took me this long to see you." Norah's expression softens slightly. "You see me now, sir? That's what matters." She leaves. Harris watches her go, then looks at the photo on his desk. His team in Afghanistan 2016. all of them alive because of a ghost they never met until now. 1 week later, dawn breaks cold and clear over the memorial wall at the base's eastern edge. Polished black granite reflects the rising sun, covered in named soldiers who didn't come home. Norah stands before it alone, her breath forming small clouds in the early morning air. Her fingers trace names she knows by heart. Sergeant Michael Torres, Specialist Amy Chen, Corporal David Park, Lieutenant James Walsh, her ghost unit, her team, the ones who didn't make it home from Kebble. 3 years ago, they were betrayed by faulty intelligence, walked into an ambush meant for double their numbers. Norah was on overwatch a mile away, watching through her scope as her friends fought for their lives. She took out 12 hostiles that day, fired until her barrel glowed red, until her trigger finger bled. Until the rescue choppers arrived, but she couldn't save everyone. 4 names on this wall belong to her team. She presses her forehead against the cool stone. "I'm sorry," she whispers. "I'm so sorry." The wind picks up, carrying desert dust in the scent of creosote. The American flag nearby snaps in the breeze. Behind her, footsteps crunch on gravel. She doesn't turn. General Captain Harris stands beside her, looking at the names. "I read the full report. What happened that day?" "You held that position for 43 minutes alone against overwhelming odds, and 4 of them still died. 14 would have died without you." Norah's jaw tightens. Math doesn't make it hurt less. "No," Harris agrees quietly. "It doesn't." They stand in silence, 2 soldiers who understand that victory and trauma aren't mutually exclusive. "Why did you come back?" Harris asks to this life. "You could have stayed in logistics safe quiet." Norah finally looks at him, because those 4 up there didn't get a choice. "They'd want me to keep going, keep training the next generation, make sure a fewer names go on this wall." Harris nods. "That's why I asked you to lead the program." "I know. The ceremony is in an hour," he reminds her. "I know that too." She takes a deep breath, steps back from the wall, straightens her uniform, wipes her eyes quickly. "They would have been proud of that shot," Harris says. "Torres would have said I took too long calculating." Norah replies with the ghost of a smile. Chen would have complained about the heat. Park would have made a bet about the exact impact point. And Walsh, Norah's smile fades. "Walsh would have told me to stop living in the past." Good advice. He was full of good advice. She touches the wall one last time. Didn't take enough of it himself. An hour later, the base's parade ground fills with soldiers and dress uniforms. The ceremony is small. No media, no civilians, just military personnel who understand what this moment means. General Harris stands at a podium. Norah stands to his right, uncomfortable with the attention. "We don't often acknowledge the work done in shadows," Harris begins. "We don't always honor the victories won in silence. But today we recognize Captain Norah Hayes Viper 1 for exceptional service to this nation." He turns to her. "Captain Hayes embodies what we hope to see in every soldier's skill, without ego strength, without arrogance, precision, without cruelty. She has saved lives in ways most of us will never know, and now she's agreed to train the next generation of ghost operators." Polite applause ripples through the formation. Harris lowers his voice, speaking directly to Norah. "Now, the shot you made last week, that wasn't just about hitting a target. It was about showing these soldiers that excellence doesn't announce itself. It just is." He steps back, salutes her formally. Norah returns the salute, then faces the assembled troops. "I'm not a hero," she says clearly. "I'm a soldier who learned to aim carefully. The real heroes are on that wall behind you. They're the ones who ran toward danger when everyone else ran away. I just made sure fewer of them had to." She pauses. "If I can teach you anything, it's this: precision is a form of compassion. Every bullet you don't waste is a life you might save. Yours or someone else's. So when I train you, I won't teach you to be killers. I'll teach you to be surgical, clean, efficient, respectful of the weight that comes with pulling a trigger." The crowd is silent. "We start tomorrow," Norah continues. "Be ready to work. Be ready to fail. And be ready to become better than you think you can be." She steps back. The flag waves overhead, red and white and blue against an endless sky. That evening, after the ceremony ends and the soldiers disperse, Norah returns to her barracks. She packs methodically clothes equipment, personal items. Everything fits in 2 duffel bags and a rifle case. Traveling light is a habit from her ghost unit days. Never carry more than you can run with. A knock on the door. General Harris enters holding a manila folder. "Your orders," he says, handing it to her. "Officially, you're being reassigned to Special Operations Training Command." "Unofficially, Ghost Unit," Norah finishes. "We're calling it something different now. Project Phantom, but yes, same concept. Elite operators, impossible missions, zero acknowledgement." She opens the folder. Inside are deployment schedules, training protocols, and photos of 5 recruits. 3 men, 2 women, all young and capable looking. "These are your students," she asks. "Your team, you'll train them, lead them, shape them into something this military has never seen before." Norah studies the faces. They look confident. They are. That's the problem. Confidence without competence gets people killed. "And you think I can teach them?" Harris meets here yees. "I think you can show them what real competence looks like. What discipline looks like. What silent professionalism looks like." Norah nods slowly. "One condition. Name it. If I take this, I run it my way. No politics, no press, no glory. We succeed in shadows or we don't succeed at all." "Agreed." She closes the folder. "When do we leave?" "Transport leaves in 2 hours. Training facility is classified. You'll have full autonomy once you arrive." "Good." Harris extends his hand. "Thank you, Captain, for coming back. For trusting us again." Norah shakes it firmly. "Don't make me regret it. I'll do me best." 2 hours later, a C-130 cargo plane sits on the runway, engines warming up. Norah walks across the tarmac carrying her bags and rifle case. The sun is setting, painting the sky in shades of orange and purple. The desert stretches endlessly in every direction. She climbs the loading ramp, finds a seat in the cargo bay, straps in. The plane's engines roar to life. The aircraft begins to taxi. From her pocket, Norah removes a single bullet casing, the one engraved with coordinates from Afghanistan. She holds it up to the fading light, watching it gleam. Then she tucks it back into her pocket, leans her head against the cold metal wall, and closes her eyes. The plane lifts off, rising into the darkening sky. Somewhere ahead, 5 recruits wait to learn what it means to be a ghost. And Norah Hayes Viper 1 is going to teach them. Ghosts don't exist, but their aim never dies. Have you ever been told you couldn't until you prove them wrong? Share your story below and subscribe to honor those who hit their mark in silence.